Opposite exercise on Michelle.
Are we ready?
I'm taking over like this way since I have my notes.
Are we ready?
Yeah.
Good evening. Welcome to the October 2023 meeting of the Merrimack Valley School Board. We'll begin with attendance.
Keely Longnecker,
Here,
Peggy Jones Blanchard. Here. Tracy Bricky. Sally Hurst Dickinson.
Here.
Jessica Wheeler Russell.
Here.
Laura Vincent.
Here.
Eric Hansen.
Here.
Daniel York.
Here.
Owen Harrington.
Here.
Lauren Martin. Here. Melissa Muzzy.
Here.
thank you. Will you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Could I have a motion to accept the meetings of previous meetings?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Dan. Questions, comments, corrections? Sally,
Oh my goodness.
dear. None. All those in favor?
I bet that this was going to be the month.
You did?
I did. I was
Oh,
yapping it up.
because they wrote them? That's not good.
I had to
right.
look up a hyphen. Just so you know.
All those in favor of accepting the meetings as written, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I will now open the floor for public comment on items that are on the agenda. Anyone? Is Fred trying to be? No. Okay.
He talked enough already.
Yeah, all right. No, not allowed. The SAU report on MV Business and Finance. Hillary?
Yep. Starting on page 6 of your packet, you'll see this month's overage report. Most of them are in special ed contracted services. We do have an overage in building improvements that will likely be reimbursed by the Maintenance Expendable Trust. And at the very bottom of the page, you'll see we have some transfers still to do from the 2900 function, which is where the collectively bargained agreements are stored. So we just make transfers to those lines to clear them out.
Does anyone have any questions for Hillary? Okay, good news.
So we have, as usual, a boatload of good news that's located in your packet. And even more good news, we have Merrimack Valley Middle School students here today to, I believe, talk about some of their summer experience.
Great.
Here. Who's going first? Oh, you're first. Okay.
All right. Thank you all for having us here tonight. We're excited to be joined with some of our students. We're going to introduce in just a minute here. But we're here tonight to talk to you guys about our summer enrichment program. This is our 3rd year of the summer enrichment program. We feel like it keeps on growing and getting better and better each and every year. These guys are going to share a little about their experiences in the program and what it was like. Before we get started, I just want to thank all the teachers who donate or who have their time in the summer. Right after we got out of school, we started, I think, June 28th this year or something like that. And we had teachers, including Ms. Bean, Ms. Irving, ready and willing to work with the students. It was a great experience, and we're excited to share a little bit about that with you here today. So here are our students.
Hi, my name's Riley. I'm in 8th grade and I'm from Webster Elementary School. Hi, my name's Layla Kulaks, and I am in 6th grade, and I'm from Bosquen Elementary School.
Hi, my name's Mariana Jetty. I'm in 6th grade and I'm from Webster Elementary School.
Hi, my name's Claire, and I'm from, I'm in 6th grade, and I'm from Salisbury Elementary School.
So the various summer enrichment programs we're going to talk to you a little bit about. We have some off-campus options. We also had a hiking group that went out and some on-campus options as well. This year was our first year of running the 6th grade transition program. So that was a program just for 6th graders who are new to the middle school from all the various towns that we had about 30 or so students participate in. So that was a great program. Full credit goes to Miss Irving on being the brainchild of that program. And it was really well run, and it was a great experience for the kids.
So for our summer enrichment, we strive for people to get acclimated to or continue to be a part of the MVMS community. We strive to connect our people, to meet new people, try new things, or pursue existing areas of interest. We collaborate, working together to communicate, create, and have fun. Thank you.
The outdoor options we had were the fishing and hiking. The hikes we did were Blue Job and Little Blue Job Mountains in Stafford, West and East Rattlesnake and Holderness, New Hampshire, Belknap and Gunstock in Guilford, and Mount Major and Alton Bay. My favorite hike was Mount Major in Alton Bay because of the view at the top. So I did the on-campus fun, and it was really fun. I did cooking, which was my favorite. And my favorite thing that I baked was the Cookie Monster because it was a group effort, and my group went through some tough times together, but we were able to work together and make the stuff that we made.
The 6th grade transition program was for 6th graders to like meet each other and to build like confidence with each other while doing like low ropes and like activities like teamwork activities. I made like a really good friend there. We're still friends to this day, and that's how I learned to trust her. Oh yeah, we also went to at the end of it, we went to Candia Springs amusement park, and we got to go zip lining, and we got to go to the water park. So.
So we conducted a survey after the summer enrichment programs, and here are the results. We'll give you a minute to look those over.
Just one thing that I forgot to mention at the beginning. So this program for the past 3 years has been fully funded through grant funds. So it's been no cost to families and no cost to taxpayers as well. So our goal is to continue to access those grant funds as long as we can to continue this program.
What parents have to say about the summer enrichment programs?
We put together a little video of the things we did over the summer in the program. I hope you like it.
Yeah, so this video here is from the 6th grade transition program. Which ones of you guys participate in this? So all 3 of our 6th graders here today participate in this.
Our time is ever on the road to ride us in a one-way to hear how it's give and take. But hear it this way, hear it this way. Alright. War is in our hearts and blood is in the land we love. We keep breaking our backs, hoping that
Once they get to the
it's
turtle, it's
enough.
okay to not pay attention.
Oh, what do you need? What do you need? Oh, man, flies to the sky, building up a high rise. Oh, man, we won't last long, but we're giving it a best try. Don't you know you're alive? You know you're alive. And none of us stay the day. One toe. Tonight I'm in love with everybody. I'm singing fun. I feel a push and pull. Keep saying that it doesn't.
Thank you for coming. If you have any questions or comments, please speak now.
Awesome job. Thank you so much for coming. And parents, thank you for doing your job.
Nice work, guys.
Good job.
That's right.
Yeah.
We should go there.
Right?
Yeah, at the board.
Thank you so much. Moving along, Nick, it's your turn. Somebody give Nick a microphone.
Hello. Maybe one of them will be taking over my jobs here in a few years. So homecoming went very well. It was this past weekend. The bonfire happened for about the first time in 5 years of trying, I'd say. The teams played very hard, including a girls soccer win, field hockey win, a football win, boys soccer lost, and volleyball had great games as well. And then the dance happened Saturday night and went very well. So Alicia Ishii is a national merit semifinalist. So pretty much her PSAT scores put her in the top 1% of all test takers nationally. So she'll now compete for a chance to win scholarship awards for college. So very smart. There will be a college fair this Wednesday in the gym at the high school. So students will be able to take a look at a bunch of different colleges and universities. The middle school has been going over some expectations within the school. So last week they invited 3 high school students, Abby Shimataro, Julia Herman, and myself, and we went over some hallway and bathroom expectations. Dr. Worm, Mrs. Masterson, and Seeley, as well as myself, attended an online Zoom call with the New Hampshire School Board Association. So we talked about student reps, our roles, some good things to go over in our student rep reports. We talked about some things we enjoyed about the meetings and what we add to our meetings. I said we like to add jokes. So they said that that's something that they would add to their presentation because they were like, that's something that all student reps should say. So that was fun as well. So just a bunch of good things happening. So I have a few jokes on that note. So I was wondering why the Frisbee kept getting bigger and bigger, but then it hit me. Our Active for Life classes have been doing a little can jam and such. So thought I'd throw that one in there. And then the last one, don't you hate it when someone answers their own questions? I do. Thank you.
Nick. Well done. Moving on to committee reports, we'll begin with the policy committee.
I actually couldn't see the light to know if it was on or not, so I don't know what that says about me. So we met as a committee on September 25th, and we started with just reviewing a little bit of an update on the dress code. We are looking forward to hearing from students about what they would like to see in their dress code, similar to what we did with the cell phone policy. Our goal will be to support the work that they're doing and create a policy that can be used district-wide, obviously. So we're going to wait until we hear from students before we go any further with any of that, that work. We also reviewed 2 policies. There are a bunch of policies that will be reviewed based on legislation, but some of that stuff has been put on hold based on some recent webinars, and the School Board Association is still working on putting out what their recommendations are, so we're going to wait for those. We anticipate more meetings. But we did look at some policies that are already in existence and trying to keep up on our idea of reviewing all of our policies. And the first one we looked at was our nursing mothers accommodation policy. One of the first things that we did was just kind of go through this to look at grammar, spacing, punctuation. Most of the corrections on this one were capitalization, getting or eliminating extra spaces, adding periods to make sentences more readable. And then we also did change the title of this because the title way it was written needed an apostrophe after mothers. And so I don't have the change that we made written down. If you can remind me what we changed it to.
I think it's accommodations for nursing mothers.
Yes, thank you. We changed it to accommodations for nursing mothers so that we could have it grammatically correct, but without having to add an apostrophe. We are looking to have this one come through with a first and only read because there were no substantial or content changes. It really was all making it more readable by adding punctuation and a couple of prepositions and getting rid of redundancies. So if there's anything from the board on the one that's in there, if you have any questions or comments about it. I would entertain a motion to have this as a first and only read.
First to know, could we have such a motion, please?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any questions? You ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. We did them separately, even though we did 2 policies, because the second one we are looking to give you guys time for a second read. So our second one is on the student discipline and due process. Again, we did look at things like typos and stuff like that. We also looked at the language in some of these, clarifying things like if we have a written number, making sure there's a corresponding numeral. So again, some of those grammatical pieces, we looked to revise some of the sentences so that they made more sense and were more consistent with what the sentence was trying to say. Just making sure I don't miss anything. Oh, I lied. This was a first and only read too. I apologize. I made that note and then I forgot. However, if you would like a second read on it, you can have one. And we removed the references to all of the policies because they're already listed at the top. They were listed in 2 places, so we eliminated that redundancy. And I do apologize. That was supposed to be a first and only read as well. We didn't really make any content changes to that. Again, it was grammatical.
So there's no substantive change
No,
to any of it?
I messed that up. I apologize.
This modernization of language.
Yes, it was an
Okay.
organization of language. Yeah, there was no in terms of like changing meaning or anything. It was just clarification. So, so I would have entertained a motion to accept this as a first and only read unless somebody has an opposition to that.
Could I hear that motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, questions?
There is one correction that's not in your folder or on your paper. On page 2, underneath the, nope, not page 2, under the Saturday detentions. I think mine are out of
That
order
is
now.
the second page.
Okay, sorry, mine are out of order now. Under the Saturday detentions, it should have 24 hours. Parents will be notified within 24 hours so that they have time to plan for a Saturday detention. So somehow that 24 got omitted. that would be the only addition that we'd add. But again, not changing meaning.
Any discussion? All those in favor of accepting this policy as slightly corrected, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Four facilities goals and one.
Yes.
So before, out of the facilities committee, I believe that they're going to be asking the board to take action, and that's not on the agenda. So if we could have a motion and a vote to change the agenda to make an action item out of the facilities committee, we'd need that first, and then we can proceed with the facilities committee.
Could I have such a motion, please?
I'll make that motion that we add facilities as an action item.
I'll second.
Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, so now we're on facilities, right?
Yep. Thank you.
Jess?
So the action item we have out of facilities is Fred presented to us this evening that if you recall the study with EEI at Washington Street for an estimate for all the work that needs to be done was the original, was it $10,000 was found to be inefficient, and he asked for another $12,500. Fred, if you'd like to come up and elaborate on that, that would be incredibly helpful.
So back in April or May meeting, this board approved $12,500. And once they got started on it, it came to our attention that it was going to be significantly more than the 4 million, 3 or 4 million that I had estimated. We did a walkthrough over there with EEI and a couple of them for hours and hours. And I decided that, you know what, put everything down, everything that needs to get done, put it down. It came out that it was looking between 10 and $14 million. So after meeting with Randy and Hillary, we decided that we were going to stop that, and we met with them. I met with them several times. Randy and I and Hillary met with them a week or two ago. And we asked them, there were literally, as you can imagine, hundreds of questions that we still have to answer. And we're going to ask the board to approve another $12,500. There's $10,000 left of the $12,500 that you guys approved in April. So a total of $25,000, and they're going to dig a lot deeper with me into seeing what different options are, different financial options, different options of whether or not the school board wants to go forward and renovate Washington Street. The biggest question is how, whether or not you want to abandon that building and sell it and build something else, or just do what's the prioritized necessities. If that was the choice, one way or another, we'd figure out a way to get the rest of the stuff. There's building aid available in 25. There's all kinds of things that we're not ready to talk about with the board yet. We want the engineers to really dig deep and narrow their focus to what we want. And for that, I need an additional $12,500. So I guess, obviously, if you guys have questions, please ask them. But that's what we're asking the board, is to approve another $12,500.
Elaborate on the fact that it's gonna.
Through all of that, just to tell you that I'm very excited moving forward with this. I think a lot of good things are going to come out of the next 6 months. If you approve the 12.5, they will come and make the presentation in April or May to give them 6 months it's going to take them some time, and we're going to have plenty of meetings, but also it gets us past the annual meeting. There's obviously nothing going to go on the warrant for this in March of '24. We would look at the earliest of March of '25. So, any questions?
So I understand, I guess I'll stay back here. Right, so I understand why you would need the additional $12,500 to pay them to do the study. Why do they need that money? Like, what is that extra money gonna do for the project or for the potential uses or approaches that we might have for Washington Street?
Well, for example, it's going to pay for their time to do investigations into the school. Let's just use as an example asbestos. Where they're going to have to cut, where they're going to have to penetrate, how much asbestos are we going to have to abate? If we abated all the asbestos in that school, you're talking about $1 million. So if you take $1 million off 10 million, you're down to 9, for an example. Obviously, I'm going to push, Randy's going to push, Hillary's going to push to get this as cheap as possible. Yeah. And then we're going to look for ways to do things without impacting the taxpayer. Mm-hmm. You know, and in addition to that, one of the things that we've talked about here tonight, that Randy and I have talked about, seems like 100 times, the horse is dead in his office under the table. We have to be 100% transparent for this. Those kids have to have a place to go to school. And nobody says it has to be there. But we need a place for them to educate them. And it doesn't make any sense necessarily if we choose to build an addition out back here for them, if it's going to cost $8 million for 10,000 square feet, if we can take 35,000 square feet and spend 9 or 6 over there. I mean, and there's literally hundreds of examples on what we still have to do. This thing is in its infancy. You know, the biggest reason that we stopped them is because we wanted you guys to be more informed. And I'm a lot more informed than you guys are, but I don't have a whole lot of more answers than you guys have at this point. I mean, I know more because I've been doing it for 30 years. We need a lot more answers before we can come to you with a solid report, if you will, to let you guys digest that. And then there'll be another 100 questions coming from the school board. And if they're not, I'd be very disappointed. Again, we want to be transparent. We want to hear from the taxpayers. They're the ones that, if we need taxpayer money, they're going to have to approve that. But you guys have to be behind it too.
Can I ask a follow-up? So, right, so the work that they would be doing would be to get answers about the Washington Street building. Would we need to pay someone else to do several $1,000s to do a separate site study if it turned out that Washington Street, you know, the price tag for renovating Washington Street was too much? I guess I'm just trying to decide.
Are you saying if it makes more sense to build something somewhere else?
No, she's asking if the drawings for an offsite building would be included in that price. So
Yeah.
would Ingrid be looking at doing that?
Conceptual drawings, yes.
Okay, so
Not construction drawings,
all right.
but conceptuals. They would show the east, west, north, south elevations. There'd be some drawings of inside. I don't know if you remember back, I don't know if you can't remember when you were on the board, Sally. Laura can tell you what comes with conceptual drawings. Is there going to be more cost for drawings? You bet your sweet bippy.
Yeah. Okay.
And a lot of it.
Yeah.
Didn't we have some drawings about a separate building or some information about a separate building that we would need? Didn't we do that at one point? No?
I don't think so. Not for this, not for this. There might have been something, I'm wondering if you're thinking about what Team Design did back in 2002 or 2003.
No, I'm thinking about, like we were talking about, there was a building, we were talking about at some house or something that we met, but we were talking about what we would need.
We've, Are you talking about
Maybe
the
we
two
should
houses
start.
over here on BD Drive?
Mhm.
Randy and I went and visited those. The owner, Sam Wasp, approached me, asked me if the district was interested. We talked about different options. Randy and I went and looked at those two houses, and if we bought those, it would be to tear them down and to do something new there.
I thought we kind of had an idea. It would take, we would have to have this, and this at a minimum somewhere, maybe not.
So what was discussed prior to all of this was doubling the size of the SAU and putting them and CSI in the SAU building, and for us to buy that property and build a new SAU out there. There was talk about the Learning Center taking one of those houses and CSI taking the other. And after Randy and I went over and walked through, it's just not, it's not conducive to what they need. Yes, Peggy?
Clarifying question. So
Okay.
we approved 12.5.
Mhm.
You still have 10 hanging out?
Yes.
So,
Well,
so we have 10 grand just sitting there.
to go along with the
Right, so you
12.5.
stop them after 2,500.
Approximately. We're not exactly clear on how much is left, but I told them when we met that most of it is available.
I guess my only concern is what, you know, 10 grand is quite a bit. Could they do more and give us a little more enlightenment about what's going on before we approve another 12.5? Because, or did they just say, we can't do the job that we wanted to do for the 10 grand remaining in this account, we're gonna need another 12.5? I mean, if,
There
that's
is.
the case, did they quote you a price to begin with, and they should stay?
Yes, they did, and then I stopped them because the price went from somewhere around 4 million to somewhere between 10 and 14 million. I feel very comfortable with the 25, that they will give us what we need to move on. And again, to echo what I just told Sally, there's gonna be more. You know, on a typical project, you're looking at $100,000 worth of scoping, engineering, architecture, for all of that. For that 25, are they gonna have all the drawings and everything that we need for the HVAC system? Not a chance. Just not how it works. You know, they're recommending 5 energy recovery units. And for those who don't know, an energy recovery unit takes the air, because you're consistently taking out the old stale air and you're pumping in new air, as long as that system is on during the day. They take the warm air in the winter, or once the heat's on, they take the warm air, and as that's getting exhausted, it pre-warms the cold air coming in. So we don't have to heat that air up so much. So if it's 20 degrees out, the exhausting air is probably going to heat that up to about 55 degrees. So then our wood chip plant, and through the coils that's in every one of these diffusers right here, there's a coil like a car radiator with hot air, hot water from the wood chip plant. That's going to heat it from the 55 degrees up to the 70 degrees. And it just saves a boatload of money. So that they're recommending 5 of those in that school, 1 for each floor, 1 for the gymnasium, and 1 for the single story building where CSI is. Makes sense, but they don't know where all that's going yet. They don't know if 3 of them are going on the brick building, 1's on the gym, and 1's on the, that's the sort of thing they have to figure out. They have to go in and see where the asbestos is. They have to cut holes in the ceilings to see. They're going to have to design the ductwork. Ductwork in a multi-story building is normally run through the corridors, and that goes from the corridors into each room. You know, for instance, over at that school, you have 12-inch walls, brick walls. So that's going to be one of the reasons it's not going to be, that would be like $300 to $350 a square foot to do that part of it. Price ranges from $200 to $400, depending on whether you're renovating or whether you're new. Boilers, EIUs, all that stuff is going to be at $400 a square foot because it's brand new. How they get there is going to fluctuate. That's okay.
So you said you stopped them because they went from 10 to $14 million.
Yep.
So we're gonna throw them another 12.5, we have 10 already in the kitty, throw another 12.5. are they still gonna go under? Are they gonna bid under or estimate under that 12 to 14 by giving?
I expect that 25,000 is gonna give us enough to come back to you and give you most of the answers that you guys need to know to make a decision. At least enough so that you're gonna throw back a bunch of questions at us. I mean, it's just, this is
But
how.
their
our-
estimated price of 10 to 14 million is not gonna go down.
No,
It is what it is.
no,
So
it can go down. It very possibly will go down substantially.
Well, if I can add some context too, I think the reason that Fred put a stop on it is because expecting 3 or 4 and then having it be 10 to 14, but that was for everything. So that was what the original thing was. Hey, we want to do all this stuff to the building. Now we're looking for options. So one of them will be conceptual drawings of a place off site. One might be, let's just do the improvements that we have to do to be able to keep running and expand. The other would be all of it, everything that's on that list. That price probably isn't going to change a whole lot from that. But if we say, hey, we can do X, Y, and Z, yeah, because before it was, what would it cost to do all of this? And then when they said to Fred, hey, this is where we're at, he said, how about stop right there? What if we had a variety of options instead of all or nothing? Because 10 to 14 million is a lot different than 3 to 4 million. So
Is there some place in the budget to take the money out of that won't affect other things? Is the money already
Yes,
figured out?
there's funds available.
Just had to ask.
No, that's fine. Thank you. Good question. Yes, Sally.
I guess two questions. One, is this a reasonable price for the work that we need to have done? This is like way outside of my wheelhouse, so.
I think it's a very good price. For what they have to work with over there, this building was completed in 1935, approximately, give it, take a year. We're dealing with a heat distribution system that's 90 years old. The return water that comes back right now to steam system, that's one of the things that would be replaced. It would be replaced with a water system, so it would be like forced hot water in people's homes. We have leaks under the slab all the time, and that means is we don't have water going back into the boiler, which has to be replaced. So we're constantly, digging up sections of slab. We find where the heat is on the floor, dig it up, fix the pipe. That's just one of the reasons we have to do something. $25,000 is, with respect to what Peggy said, is not a lot of money for this. It's cheap. And I will tell you right now, I'm going to come back if we follow through with this, and if you approve this tonight, I will come back and ask for more. It will be at a much larger scale. We will be that much further down the line, but there will be more money for the engineering. This will get us conceptual east, west, south, north elevations of what it may look like. The outside of the building is not going to change a whole lot, but what we'll do at entrances, where the elevator would be, what's going to happen in the boiler room, for instance, different options. If we build off-site somewhere, off-site from there, meaning probably here, there'd be elevations of that building. It's just I keep saying at the facilities, this whole project is in its infancy, and we're just starting out, and there's a long way to go, and we're going about it slow and methodically, so the taxpayers know exactly what's going on, and you guys know exactly what's going on. But there will be additional money. You go back and look at construction projects in the past, it's $100,000-$300,000 that the board has approved. Now that gets you construction drawings, and it goes much more in depth. But they don't know barely anything about that building. All they know is this has got to be replaced, this has got to be replaced, this has got to be replaced. New construction is $400 a square foot. Renovations go from $250, somewhere in that ballpark. 250 is $8.75 million. 300 is 10 something, 350 is 12 something, and 400 is 14. So there's all kinds of things that they still have to figure out. And they don't have that information. I don't have it. If I had it, did have it. So they need to do more research, dig deeper and find out what they have to do, what it's going to entail for them to do that. And then they'll have a better idea. You know, they may come back and say, you know what, we need to run a pipe right down here to serve the main leads. And then we're going to go into each classroom and we're going to do this, we're going to do that. They may want to put the supply air coming in on the sidewalls like we did here at the high school. We've been through that. That's not happening. So they're going to have to come down from the ceiling like we did here, classrooms, high school meaning in the classrooms. So there's just hundreds of questions that we still have to answer.
Can I say a quick follow-up? That was my second question is, how do you feel about the work that they've done so far?
I feel very confident in their work. I think they're very knowledgeable. John Francis used to do what I do at Plymouth School District. He is a lot smarter than I am. I asked him if he wanted to replace me so I could get the hell out, and he said, no way.
Okay.
And then he won't let me out, so.
You're stuck,
You're
Fred.
trapped.
Is this company, is this a construction firm? Or do they just?
These are
do
engineers.
Engineers, the engineering.
They would have,
Construct.
they would be the lead contractor if we were to do this or any of the options that we end up with. They would be the lead general contractor, and then they would hire their subs. They're the same company that did the ESSA money in Loudon at the high school, here in the gym, and in Webster in the multipurpose room. Very good company.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, Lauren.
Just as a follow-up, I guess. So, and I'm trying to understand the whole, it's a big project. So they're doing the engineering and the study, so to speak, and they're gonna come back. They've already given you an idea of a breakdown of what everything would cost.
Mhm.
So their estimates are coming from what they would charge us to do that work, I'm assuming.
Their estimates are coming by what was put on the list when we did our multiple walkthroughs and what the accepted price per square foot is for renovations, new or a mix thereof.
So when we get to the breakdown, I guess, and we prioritize the needs and wants of that project, HVAC, elevator, whatever those things are, wouldn't it be prudent for us to do an RFP for each of those things individually so that we have multiple bids on each phase of that?
I'm sure that is something that we will talk to them about. And, you know, first I'd want to hear what they want to do. But yes, I mean, we're going to do everything we can to get the price lower. We come back in April. I think you guys are going to be very impressed with some of the options to lower the price. I don't want to get into it now. I'm not going to get into it now, but.
And like I said, that's just knowing that when you look at different people that specialize in different aspects, there's ways to say like these people might be better for elevators, and these ones might be better for HVAC.
Ingrid will be here from Banwell's part of this. Obviously, part of that 25 is to pay her for her stuff. Her specialty is schools, and she knows everybody. So I still call her. I'm looking for this. Who do I call? And she'll give me a name. Nope, I don't like them. Give me somebody else. And it's we're going to do the same job on this as far as this goes. And nobody knows at this point that we do on any other construction job. And I don't
Great.
think there's a whole lot of complaints out there about the construction that we've done.
Thank you, Fred. That's very thorough. I can't remember if we had a motion. We did not. I would entertain a motion to raise an additional $12,500 to continue the study of Washington Street School and alternatives.
So moved.
You're right. Encumber. Will you say?
I'll accept the friendly amendment.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second? Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. You have
The only other piece was that we did discuss the quote came back for the turf. And we decided not to move forward with the initial quote because it was around the tune of $3 million for the turf. But that the athletics department is welcome to negotiate that down and come back with a lower number if they so choose.
So, but at this point, that project is no longer going forward.
As yes, that's what I would say.
Okay.
Unless they can negotiate a much
Right.
smaller price.
Is that
than
a
that.
recommendation to the board, our recommendation to the board? Is that how it works?
Oh, we voted to,
Probably.
Yes, you'll want to just send that to the board and let the
Okay.
board vote.
I stand corrected. I was misunderstanding. So yes, so technically this would be a vote. Thank you for the correction.
So
Um,
are we voting tonight? We could.
can.
We could.
Does
Yeah.
anyone have any detailed questions? I don't know if Kenny's still here, but I can look through my notes and answer it. I
I can
mean,
answer. any
Okay. Why don't you make a motion first?
I'll make a motion that we do not go with the initial quote from the vendor as it has come to us this evening. So
Well, I thought you were sort of suspending the study.
suspending the study. I'm sorry. Yes, suspending the study. Let me re-say that.
Before you say that, can I- are we suspending the study or are we, because the study's been done, right? And we've been
Okay.
given a proposal, but we are.
We-
Suspending the
Negotiations.
project.
Work on the-
Suspending the project
For now.
until, with the option of renegotiating.
Renegotiating the price.
Price.
Mhm.
Is that-
an accurate way to say that? 'Cause I can make
What,
that
who did the minutes for the policy committee?
I wrote it down.
Motion off on the turf fields for progressing
Okay. So that was the motion in the policy committee meeting. Excuse me, facilities committee meeting. Would you like to make the same motion for this board?
I would support that, yes.
Do you want to read it again?
Sure. The motion was to hold off on the turf fields from progressing for now.
Okay. Okay, moved and seconded to hold off on the turf field
Progressing any further.
progressing any further at this time.
Mhm.
Any questions? Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Moving along. Old business. The old business that we need to discuss has to do with the New Hampshire School Board Association Delegate Assembly. And they're going to be like 3 motions. Okay. The first one is, and they're all in your packet,
Actually, they're not all, well,
the continuing resolutions are,
and the proposed resolution, but is not in your packet are the proposed changes to the bylaws. But I
okay,
do have, I've been looking for them, I pulled them up into.
yes, and you have seen them online, okay. Beginning with continuing resolutions. May I have a motion, please, to, what we're doing here is we are giving Melissa, our delegate to the delegate assembly, our instructions on how we would like for her to represent us. So, could I have a motion to support the continuing resolutions as presented?
So moved.
Is there a second? Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The next one is the proposed resolutions, of which there are 12. All but the 12th one have recommendations from the New Hampshire School Board Association? What? They make a recommendation. I just say they made a recommendation.
So.
Okay. So could I have a motion to direct Melissa to vote as the New Hampshire School Board of Directors recommend?
So, second.
Okay. Questions, comments, discussion?
Question, clarifying question. Is this for every item except number 19, which is the one that they don't have?
We don't have,
Are we going to discuss this separately? Is what I'm
well,
asking.
we could add to this motion that we would support that motion.
I would offer an amendment to support it's number 19, the last one. That does
There's
not
no
have a
recommendation because it was late.
Yeah.
It was late, and technically we don't have, like, they wouldn't necessarily vote on it
Mm-hmm.
as an assembly in terms of like putting it forward because it was late.
Okay. So basically what we're saying is, the Board of Directors of the NHSBA has made recommendations on each of these except for the last one. And the motion is to follow their recommendations. Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And finally, the bylaws, there are proposed changes to the NHSBA bylaws, which I believe you have seen online. There are 3. They have to do with dues. Yes.
So the one on dues has to do with them trying to control any increases to school districts in terms of the dues they're paying. The current language in there could impact school districts with a 20% increase. They are proposing language to keep it no more than 10%. So they have not had to raise dues since 2008, but at this point they've been dipping into savings to maintain and do the work they do for us, to support us. So the change in this bylaw is to actually help schools. So it's a good change. And then the other 2 are just language about terms.
Okay. Could we have a motion to accept the proposed changes to the bylaws?
So moved.
Is there a second? Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And I have one more motion that I would ask for, and that is that we give Melissa permission to vote as she sees fit if other business comes before the assembly.
So moved.
Is there a second?
One of us.
Okay. Did you get that? All right. Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Melissa, I'm sure will represent us well, and I think Jessica's going to. And it is kind of an interesting exercise, and they do feed you. So if you, it is a Saturday. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yes. We need to set some committee meetings. Go ahead. Catherine. What do you have?
Yeah, both policy and curriculum. We need to meet. I think we're looking later in the month. Could the 16th work? Ideally, if we could get them.
I can definitely make the 16th.
I can.
Policy, I don't, is everybody else on
So we
policy?
do a 5:30 and a 6:30, or a 5 and a 6? Can we,
I can
it's
actually-
5 to,
Yeah, I can do 5 on that.
Can you
day
do 5?
because
Can you
I
do
don't have a
5?
meeting at 8 o'clock.
I can. I might be like just a little but
The
I should be
16th
able to get there on
is
time.
a Monday?
It's entirely traffic dependent.
The 16th is a Monday.
Are you on both committees?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say this is-
Okay.
It should work. It's just
So
traffic.
So who wants to go first?
I'm on both, so
I
I'm
would,
there.
I would, my preference would be that policy goes first, just,
Okay.
I would really appreciate that.
Policy at 5, curriculum at 6 on the 16th at the SAU.
yes,
Okay.
thank you.
And-
So
Yes, if we could have a finance committee meeting before the next board meeting on November 6th at 5:30.
okay, 5:30 on November 6th, Finance Committee.
Here, yep.
Anyone else? Going once? No? Okay,
Will facilities be before that?
not yet.
Okay.
Okay, manifest and journal entries. Could I have a motion to accept them?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Tracy and I have both signed off electronically on them, and you all have had an opportunity to read them online. Any questions? All those in favor of accepting them, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I don't have anything to report, so I'm going to turn it over to Catherine.
Thank you. So I have some positive news to share. Over the past month, our schools have had the good fortune of receiving some very generous donations. The New Hampshire Board of Realtors donated to each of our elementary school food service programs to help alleviate balances that have accrued for some of our students. Additionally, Jersey Mike's gave a very generous donation of $10,000 to Boscawen Elementary School, part of a fundraiser that they did for the opening of that new location. And both the middle school and high school, once again, received robotics grants through the state. And those two groups are already hard at work getting those teams up and running to prepare for competitions. And we certainly hope they'll be as successful, if not more so, than they were last year, which was pretty impressive. This past Friday evening, Mr. Dick Chandler, former athletic director of Merrimack Valley High School, and the 1987 girls softball championship team were inducted into the Athletic Hall of Fame. Kenny is gone now, but Kenny Edwards and Tommy Clark, teacher here at the high school, co-chair the Hall of Fame committee, and they really did a fantastic job organizing that event, which was really well attended, and was a great kickoff for what was a really successful homecoming the next day. So this Friday is a professional development day for our staff who will be meaningfully engaged in a variety of PD activities depending on the level. But we have everything ranging from community building to professional training around topics such as math instruction and crisis prevention intervention. And finally, on a sad note, I have to share a passing. Jennifer Keaton has been a music teacher for over 15 years in our district and has spent most of her time delivering music instruction to students in Loudoun, Salisbury, and Webster. She died last Monday after a 4-year battle with cancer, and she'll be missed.
Indeed. Thank you. Randy?
Well, because I didn't check with Nick before I did my report, he took half of my stuff, so that's great. That'll speed things up a little bit. But it was good hanging out last week and doing the New Hampshire School Board Association meeting for the student reps. It was really good to hear. We've actually had student reps as part of the board long before most other districts, so they really were kind of looking to us for some of the things that we've done, and I can't even come close to touching Nick's joke, so I'll skip that as well. Nick did mention homecoming, and I'll tell you, I did my duty and ate things like deep fried Oreos and tons of cookies and things like that from the booths. It was great seeing so many people out supporting the Merrimack Valley teams, and a lot of school spirit. So that really was a great day. There was a slight glitch this weekend. Some folks didn't have access to our public documents that are online. There was a security change in the Google settings that they had been recommending. But as soon as that was brought to our attention, we did take care of that. Everything's good now. We've moved it so that we don't have any of that, those issues blocking any of those documents. And as I mentioned, just so that everyone else can hear, the turf field study report is up on the school board link under the reports and studies tab. So you can get access to everything that we've had as far as that study goes. This past week, Hillary and I were able to attend the NHSAA Best Practices in School Operations and Finance, and there was some really good information from the New Hampshire retirement system, and a number of other things that will help us get a sort of a broader view of some of the things happening at the state level. So that was a very worthwhile conference that we were able to attend. There is a possibility, you may have seen some things floating around. Catherine touched on, lunch debt and things like that. We are waiting for the end of the month, October 26th. New Hampshire has a waiver that they've submitted to the USDA and the USED for free and reduced lunch. And if that goes through, many, if not all of our schools will be eligible for universal free breakfast and lunch. So we're waiting with fingers crossed that the New Hampshire waiver gets accepted. And it does look like, district-wide, our percentage is around 27% as far as the paperwork that we've received. So if they count us as a district, that would give us district-wide. If they do go school by school, we'd be looking at 5 out of our 8 currently, and then just a little more work trying to, get some paperwork from folks for the other 3 schools. So I think either way, if New Hampshire gets the waiver, we're going to be, I didn't want to put this out there, but if we can all be thinking good thoughts about the waiver from New Hampshire, this would be very good for our community. So that's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you. That would be awesome. Moving along, topics for the next board meeting, anyone?
I have one.
Yes.
I would love to get an update on the MVSD system of care to see where we are with meeting the goals that I think it was last May Becky was discussing it with us. I'd love to have an update.
Is that a good timing? Okay.
Maybe I can talk to her about either November or December and come.
Yeah. Either's
Okay.
fine.
Okay.
Be great.
Anyone else?
We can certainly report out on the,
Yes, we'd like to hear about how that goes. Yes. Anything else? All right. I will now open the floor for public comment. Is there anyone who wishes to say anything?
We do have reason to go into.
Right.
and would be on the
So it's a
3.2B.
3.2B. Could I have a motion, please, to go into non-public session under RSA 91A 3.2B?
So moved.
That's a roll call vote, please.
Celia Longnecker.
Yes.
Peggy Jones Blanchard.
Yes.
Tracy Brinkey. Sally Hurst Dickinson.
Yes.
Jessica Wheeler Russell.
Yes.
Laura Vincent.
Yes.
Eric Hansen.
Yes.
Daniel York.
Yes.
Owen Harrington.
Yes.
Lauren Martin. Yes. And Melissa Murphy.
yes.
Okay, we'll take a quick break and go into non-public.